Buongiorno a tutti.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Voice. On behalf of the President, Mr. Cagnone, and of the CEO, Corrado Peraboni, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for being here. I'd like to welcome those of you who are here in person and to all those who are connected through our website, vincenzooro.com, on our Facebook account and our YouTube channel. I apologize for some little delay. We are now pleased to have three guests. Before introducing them, I'd like to spend a few words on Voice. Voice is an initiative that was launched by Italian Exhibition Group. It hasn't been born in our offices. It has been born through a dialogue with the market, through a dialogue with the industry, because trade shows should support the industry, and there's an unparalleled need to do something like that. So IEG decided to start this initiative, and together with our traditional partners, exhibitors and buyers, we have designed a new product. The product is working well. It has proven to be very successful for the market. So this is not just to support the business, as we usually say. We know that Vincenzo Oro and all our platforms are show of what is happening also at cultural level. So everything obviously has to be discussed for the market to evolve towards a greater sustainability, toward a general improvement of working conditions, consumption, as well as distribution. And here we have delegates from the most important worldwide organizations in dealing with the above-mentioned subjects. And I'm going to present you our guest, Cibjo, with the president, Mr. Cavalieri, is present amongst us. And I'd like to thank him for the great support he gives and for safeguarding the industry. 6 million companies, actually 7 million companies being represented by Cibjo. So thank you, Mr. Cavalieri. Thank you also to Mr. Enzo Liverino, the living legend for the choral, as I've heard him referred to, from Bahrain to Hong Kong. So thank you, Mr. Liverino, for being here. Thank you for being part of Voice. And the president of Assocoral, Mr. Vincenzo Aucella, a partner, a friend with whom we've developed this format. By the way, the color of the fashion show is that of peach coral. This was not made on purpose, but perhaps again it is to represent this district of excellence in Italy. Now I'd like to give the floor to you. It is a technically important contribution, the one that you're giving. I give you the floor and thank you again for being with us and joining our Voice. Thank you, Marco. Thanks also to the institutional delegates of Choral, with their businesses and with their family activity. I'd like to thank most specifically President Vincenzo Aucella, whom I had met as a boy. And he's actually safeguarding the tradition of Mediterranean choral, that of Vincenzo, the Dottore del Greco. And as for Mr. Liverino, Enzo Liverino is familiar to us all. He's been the driving engine of the attention, the focus that has been devoted by Cibjo worldwide for all what has to do with choral, precious choral, Mediterranean choral, established links with international institutions and universities. At Cibjo, we've had the great opportunity to get to know precious coral in depth, so much so there's a new blue book, the Coral Blue Book, whom I know that you're all familiar with. The most important features for precious coral are all important, alive at Kiki across the board. The Mediterranean Sea is a closed sea where Mediterranean coral can grow under specific conditions. Let me remind you, in particular, for a region which is very close to my heart because I was born there in Sicily, and most specifically in Chaka. There's a precious coral that is of great importance. Together, we've undertaken a number of studies and research projects, and we have worked together with international researchers and scientists. And together, we developed some building blocks with regard to color specifically and other issues that both President Aucella and President Liverino will cover shortly, more in depth and more learnedly than I can do. They are experts on the subject more than I am. I'm familiar with the beauty of the coral, of precious corals, not just aesthetically, and whatever I have learned from them. So I'd like to thank you for following the meeting in real person and through our platforms. But let me also highlight how beautiful precious coral is. I've had the opportunity to visit Enzo's museum, and I've seen these branches of Mediterranean coral that's greatly impressed me. I've seen videos where the beauty of coral and the difficulty of getting to Mediterranean coral and processing red coral as they do, as you do, shows all again the important processes involved. So it is quite an experience to follow the way it is harvested, to the way it is processed, and how it can actually be transformed into beautiful jewels. Now, without further ado, I'd like to give the floor to you, and thank you for having me here to bear witness to your successes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Gaetano. I'd like to take the floor, if I may. And I'd like to announce officially that the Bangkok Gemological Institute, the ICAGEM lab, will carry out this important work on behalf of Cibjo and Assocoral. We've presented this project at Bahrain at the Congress that was held there. The process is underway. Then obviously there has been some delay due to COVID. Now we have resumed our activity, and I believe that over the next month the project is going to be completed. We've been urged to finalize this project because of the determination that we expressed as working in the coral industry, as our desire was to make sales and trade of Mediterranean coral easier. We decided to focus on Mediterranean coral and not on all the different species of precious coral, because otherwise that would have become too big an effort. Let me highlight that precious coral includes as many as 7 different species. There are 7,300 species of coral that belong to the larger family of coral, common coral or the reef corals. thanks to Mr. Gaetano Cavalieri, the president of Cibjo, we started some 7 years ago to develop the Blue Book of Cibjo. We provided many information for the drafting of the Blue Book that was important from the gemological point of view. We've added many information that were useful for those who had to make decisions with reference to customs. For example, actually we developed a specific guide for customs that was translated in different languages. So we worked with the reference to nomenclature, treatment, sustainability, ethics. And 2 years ago, we realized that what we had done was well done, but we had to undertake something else. We had to support the common coral, the reef coral, that is suffering because of the acidification of the oceans, because of climate change, because of the raising of the average temperatures. Hence the need to have scientific researchers within our association, Assocoral. As for marine biology, we can boast of the cooperation of the Tokyo University, the Federico II University in Naples, with Professor Anna Di Cosmo. And then we work also together with the Catania University, where they developed a specific knowledge on reef coral. And then there is a scientific institution in Monaco, a beautiful institution. They have achieved very, very relevant results indeed. And as a matter of fact, studying the Mediterranean coral, which lives under extreme conditions, important depth with atmospheric pressure, with absence of light, with very strong currents. They understood how to support also coral growing on the reef. And that led to significant results. As a matter of fact, different tests are being undertaken worldwide. But now, going back to our main subject, i.e. that of the classification of the color range of the Mediterranean coral, well, there's something important that I wish to say, and I believe indeed there should be a need of standardization of colors, so that there is a shared approach to the definition of color, so that you can place an order or issue a classification document when you are selling a specific Mediterranean coral, so that it could find its place in the range, not to have repercussions on the price or on the value, because Mediterranean coral is certainly beautiful when it is light colored, when it is dark colored, but just to make our work easier, so the color range won't have any impact on money. Coral is not more precious because it is darker in color, unlike what happens with a diamond. So we just need this classification to support trade and to make our life easier. And I believe that Vincenzo can add something to that concern.
First of all, I would like to thank the Italian exhibition group for having given us this opportunity of presenting, as usual, all the innovation we have to offer. I wish to thank both Gaetano and Enzo for having contributed to this project and for having accepted to cooperate. We are the two sides of the same medal. We are specific, Cibjo, with its wide viewpoint, both with a high number of members, but also with its technical support. We are an association which supports both producers and traders. And so we complement each other. And in this venture, we all contributed with our own specificities. I wish to thank them because it's not the first time we cooperate. It's not the first time that we have common goals. This project is the result of the need of those who every day work on foreign markets. And very often to classify color, well, if you're used to dealing with other gemstones, you realize that this was something truly missing in our industry. As Enzo Liverino said, we decided to concentrate only on Mediterranean coral, excluding what Gaetano mentioned previously, the shaka coral. For the moment, we have excluded that type of coral because in itself it has a wide range of other shades of color. So in order to specialize, we're going to analyze 99% of the production of Mediterranean coral acting specifically in this field. In the past few months, we've had a series of meetings with Enzo, with a committee made up of some operators who process coral and who know coral well. And the result was a very detailed scale of colors, which will be simplified in the future. But this will help those who will scientifically have to prepare this color grading system and understand it fully. We have felt that there was a need for this. And we believe that this kind of an innovation can bring retailers above all, that is the last stage, whoever is going to sell an object in coral, whether a ring, a brooch, or a necklace, to have this extra added value. As Enzo said, we don't want to compare our color scale to the one of diamonds in terms of importance. In order to give a value to the product. No, our color grading system is just seen as a helping hand in order to improve the level of our Mediterranean red coral. And so to give a specific terminology which, once established, can be adopted by other gemological sites. And so this is our goal. It's not a very easy task, especially in this moment in time, because of all these problems. For a few months, we perhaps lost some time on this project, but now we've taken it under control with a renewed spirit and excitement, and it's going to bear fruit. It is our intention to do exactly this, to give a helping hand to retailers when they sell coral objects, Mediterranean coral objects, for the color, not for the price, but just to identify the coral, the Mediterranean coral's color. That is our project. If I may, I would like to add something. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, which I find is of fundamental importance to further develop coral, Mediterranean coral, and it is of fundamental importance for the activities of Torre del Greco. And I am grateful to you because traveling all over the world, I have learned that Italian coral from Torre del Greco is very much appreciated. And so I wish to launch an appeal. You are the chairman. You group the entire production and the entrepreneurial capacity and artistic capacity of the area. Because this is what we're talking about, the artistic capacity of the producers of Torre del Greco in transforming this wonderful object coming from the sea, allow me to call it this way, into a finished jewel, a completed jewel. A jewel which gives us so very many emotions, sometimes even more emotions compared to other jewels, which make up the beauty of our industry. I see what is happening abroad. I must say that many people who perhaps a few years ago were not sufficiently interested in coral now have started understanding and appreciating the effort of the world of Torre del Greco, Mediterranean coral above all. And when we speak of the Mediterranean coral of Torre del Greco and of the Mediterranean coral craftsmen, people devote more attention to this because Torre del Greco is very much appreciated abroad. It's hundreds of years now because the Torre del Greco craftsmen were masters in producing, in cutting, and in processing coral to turn it into a jewel. Today we speak of precious coral. And this term, precious coral, is even more precious than the precious coral of Torre del Greco. So I'm playing with words, but from my point of view, I would really love it that the efforts made by you and by your predecessors and many others I will not name, otherwise the list would go on and on. All people who are very dear to me, very close to me, and I remember them dearly. And I admire their professionality in allowing coral to express itself to the fullest. But I would like to get the international world to come closer to the Italian Mediterranean coral world and the Italian Mediterranean coral world to the international audience. And I, as the chairman of Cibjo, would like to thank Enzo Liverino for everything it has done. He has done for all his efforts in trying to give even more importance to what the world of Mediterranean coral already represents. So, thank you. I believe we have finished. I thank you on behalf of everyone. And I wish to thank the hospitality of IEG, the Italian Exhibition Group, with which we have a great partnership. And I hope to see you numerous in international venues where we can further express how great it is to belong to the Torre del Greco heritage. And I love and come from Torre del Greco, but I don't come that often, although I receive a lot of invitations. So perhaps one day we can all meet together there and think of how to express coral better, Mediterranean coral better, on international markets. Thank you.